Hey everybody, welcome back. This is WSOP 2026 Tournament Day 3. I believe it is Day 5. Actually, it's past midnight. It got late. It's actually Day 6 of the trip, but today was Day 3 for tournaments, so the third tournament, and that's what we'll be covering in this video. It got late. I won't be recreating any hands or anything like that. I just thought I would do a quick recap and just talk about the day in general. Today's tournament was the $600 Deep Stack Championship, and that's one of my favorite events of the year. The title of the video is probably the best way to describe the day. Better decisions, worse results. That's how I'm going to say it. I ended up firing 2 bullets today, and unfortunately, I busted both times. That's two entries. You were allowed 2 entries per player in this tournament. And again, it's one of my favorite tournaments of the year because it is deep, and that just means there's a lot of poker to play. It's not a tournament where it's just rapid, and you don't get to make a lot of decisions. And in this tournament in particular, there's a lot of room for poker play, actually playing poker versus some other tournaments. Let's see. So on the first bullet or entry, I got it all in with pocket queens. One of the strongest hands you can have preflop in Texas Hold'em. And I got my queens in against a player who called a big 3-bet, a big re-raised preflop with 8-9 offsuit from an early position. And he he ended up making a full house. That's just how the board ran out. It ran out something like 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, something crazy, and he shouldn't have even been in the hand. And even after he was with 8, 9 offsuit, meaning that they weren't even in the same suit, I was a huge favorite to win, and unfortunately, the deck had other plans. So later, I got it in again as a favorite. I got Ace King in against Ace Jack. Ace King is the strongest non-made hand in Hold'em, and I lost that one too. He ended up hitting a Jack on the flop. I had him what's called dominated, and we call it that because his only real card that's live is the Jack. Because yes, he has an ace, I have an ace, but my king's better. So his ace is essentially dead. So all he has is the Jack, and again, I'm a favorite to win the hand, but a Jack comes, and that's poker. On the second bullet or entry, I pretty well just kind of grinded down, and I eventually got short. And I would say my bust out hand, I picked up a pair of fives, pocket fives, with about 10 big blinds. And for anyone that doesn't play poker, that basically means I was running out of room to maneuver. I had 10 big blinds or rotations, 10 rotations around the table. An early position player, a player acting early or first, they raised. And then with my 10 blinds, I decided that I was going to move all in. I was on. I was in the cutoff. I was in the cutoff, and I had about 8,600 in chips. Super low, and yeah, early position player raised, and in the cutoff for me with the fives and 10 big blinds. My decisions around that time, I didn't like to fold. I didn't want to fold the fives, and calling. I didn't want to call with just 10 big 10 big blinds and such little chips, just because I would have no maneuverability And also, I will say that the two players directly to my left, um, they were two of the best players at the table, in my opinion. And everyone else around the whole table had relatively healthy chip stacks. So I didn't even have really great fold equity. I was just hoping to get through the remaining players, which would be three players. So I needed three players left to act behind me to fold, and the original raiser, preferably, I'd prefer him to fold. So the players behind me, they folded, and it's back to the original opener from early position. I believe he was under the gun +2, and he ended up thinking for a moment, and I think that just came from him thinking that I was a top player when in reality I was card dead for a good while, and I think that that helped my image. Um, but he ended up calling, and he had pocket jacks. So yeah, I chose to move all in there because I felt like I would be up against a range primarily with under the gun +2, where he's going to have a lot of overcards. And like I talk about, in other videos or other times, a lot of times I'm going to be in a race or a coin flip where he has two overcards, ace, king, king, queen, and my fives just have to hold. Unfortunately, here I ran it into pocket jacks. And I think that, again, my decision to jam the fives, I'm completely happy with that. The old me probably may have even considered folding it. Um, so I didn't let fear drive me. I just made the best decision in the moment. I think with all of these, sometimes that's just how tournament poker goes. For me personally, I make the best decision in the moment and I live with it. I can't control what other people do, and I can't control the cards. So, whatever other people do, that's what they do. Whatever the cards, however they fall, whenever the cards are dealt, that's just what's meant to be, and I can't control that. So, I live with the outcome. As long as I made the best decision, then I like that. And I enjoy having fun. It's not always fun busting. It's not always fun, losing when you're a favorite, but you just try to have as much fun as you can. I would say the interesting part wasn't really the results. Yeah, the interesting part today was reviewing my notes tonight. I've gotten better at taking notes throughout the day, and one thing I've been working on is getting more comfortable with medium and short stacks. So medium chips, stacks, short chip stacks, areas where I have less chips and I have identified as weaker parts of my game. Because specifically medium, I may run into situations where either A, I'm not quite sure the decision, or maybe I'm short in chips and I'm not quite sure of the decision, or maybe it's more fear based. Whereas that seems to be something that I am improving on and I'm getting more comfortable with. I've definitely identified that in the past as a weaker part of my game. A few months ago, I probably would have folded some small pocket pairs in spots where today I recognized, hey, these are opens or playable. For example, I know I found a raise with pocket nines. I defended a couple of blinds that old Derek probably would have folded. Um, I remember defending ace nine off against like a raise in a call. I had to fold the flop because I missed it completely. And that was, I had about 14 big blinds. Old me would have been thinking really in two ways, all in or fold. But I was able to find the call and the defend and see what happened. And another hand with about 14 big blinds, I was able to enter the pot with, it was ace four suited, ace four spades. and I was in a small blind, and I was able to enter the pot and see a flop, and I ended up having to fold the flop because I completely missed it. And what was interesting in that hand is because, again, old me would only be thinking about the cards and thinking about, here with, 14 big blinds, ace four of spades likes to shove. I think this would be a shove. But in the moment, I was able to actually stop and think. And what I didn't like was that a player that had opened. Let's see, probably three seats to my left. He had been the tightest player at the table, and I just did not feel comfortable going all in there. And after I folded the flop, come river at showdown, he had pocket tens. So my read for being right in terms of him being tight was right. So and ace never came, so I would have. I wouldn't have won that hand. So I say all that to say, definitely getting better at making decisions and identifying all options available, not just finding the old me of, oh, I'm short on chips, all in or fold. That happens. Obviously, that happens. When you start to get to 10 big blinds or less, it's pretty much all in or fold. And that's pretty much going to be the case with the majority of the time. But it's just teaching me that it's not as static. Sometimes, with all things, there's decisions, and let's think about those decisions. Let's take our time and let's see what's what. And I always say, even though I busted and got eliminated twice, I actually felt better about a lot of the decisions I made. I didn't let getting short on chips or fear dictate my play. I let decisions guide me. I didn't get tilted with the bad luck, continuing to just slap me. The biggest thing I realized tonight is that during my study session is in the past, I always ask myself, what bluffs exist? So say I'm facing a big river bet. I always find myself asking, okay, what bluffs exist? What can they be bluffing with? What are natural bluffs that get here? And I haven't really been doing that enough at the table. So that's something that I'm going to make a focus tomorrow. Checkbox, I'm going to make that a focus tomorrow because I had been doing that really well in the past. And lately it's just slipping through the cracks a lot. And we want to make that a focus tomorrow. So again, the results weren't great. The variance, bad luck, wasn't great. Bad luck, horrible. Can't control it. But I honestly think that my decisions were better than the results. And again, that's just tournament poker. You can have a good day where you improve and you get better and you learn so much, or you get to just do some things that you don't normally get to do and become a better player and still bust out or get eliminated out of the tournament. And sometimes it can be brutal. But like I say, it's all about having fun, continuing to get better, study, and improving where I need to improve. And that's the most important thing for me. Have fun, get better. As long as I'm getting better, I'm okay with that. So tomorrow's another event, another chance to learn, and hopefully another chance to make a run. So thanks for following along. I'll see you guys in day 4 tournament wise, and I think it's going to be the $800 summer event or $800 summer something. Uh, I know it's summer something, so that's the next tournament for tomorrow. All right, thank you guys.